On this episode of Our Little Warehome,
as you've seen on previous episodes, we're done with framing.
Which means now we move into electrical, plumbing, and insulation.
All the stuff nobody really cares about.
But you need, so let's get started. We're the Branch family, just ordinary people who decided to buy an 80-year-old warehouse and turn it into our downtown family home. Come along with us and experience all the hard work and thousands of decisions it's going to take to turn this derelict warehouse into our little warehome. Okay, the kids and I are headed down to the warehouse to clean it up. They're super not excited. We started construction about 4 months ago, and this is the 7th construction dumpster we filled up.
The kids don't like helping clean up, but it builds character and it's free labor.
And on the plus side, I've become a deadly accurate trash throwing ninja.
Jimmy, on the other hand, still needs some practice.
So speaking of practice, we don't have a lot of practice at home renovation.
We've never flipped homes or built our own home.
I don't even know what a hammer is. And it took us 7 months to go from a derelict warehouse to what it is now, something that kind of looks like a home.
Along the way, there were tons of surprises.
Like the 9 million trips to Lowe's we took, the rodents in the building,
The tar on the wall.
the things that we thought would take hundreds of dollars to clean up,
Took thousands.
and weeks instead of days. But here we are, we worked through all those issues. Our general contractor, Richard, is taking the inspector through the house for the framing inspection. And because our framing crew was the best in the world, we got the thumbs up.
But now it's about to get crazy. You know what? Crazy is an understatement. This whole part of the build is a blur to me.
Yeah, the whole electrical process was a blur. It happened in a couple days. They pulled wire all over the house for our switches and our plugs and our outlets and our fans. And they were in and out so fast, I didn't even get to know their names. Which is a shame because they seem like nice guys.
I swear, they put in 1,000 switches and 8 million miles of wiring.
Well, maybe not 8 million miles, but it was a lot.
The AC people ran ductwork all over the house.
Duct work.
Duck.
Duct.
That's what I said.
Okay.
Duck.
Our house is 4,400 square feet, so we chose 2 units that are 4 tons each. Tonnage is sort of the capacity at which they can blow. So 4 tons are big units, and we chose 20 sears, which are very energy efficient.
And we live in Florida, so we've got to have a good AC.
Another thing we did to insulate the house, we used spray foam, and spray foam has a higher R value than most traditional fiberglass bats, which means your home stays more comfortable in the summer and winter months. Now, if you're an insulation geek, Lowe's has a great video about the history of insulation. It actually is really good. Sarah and I watched the whole thing today. You know they used to use acorns to insulate houses? We wanted our warehome to be as energy efficient as possible, so we used spray foam insulation, low E glass, and we also added a 28-panel solar system, which will reduce our power bill by up to $170 per month. Our solar system was custom designed by Wholesale Solar. They helped a DIYer just like me understand solar systems, the return on investment, and then guided us through the installation process. Because we homeschool the kids and they're around all day, and we have an open floor plan, sound and how it travels through the house was very important to us.
We used a product called Mute X inside our ceiling and walls to help dampen the sound around the house. Now that the walls are filled with pipe and wires, it's time to bring in the drywall, and they brought in 2 truckloads of it.
And if you've ever lifted drywall, you know how heavy it is. So they had this truck with this giant arm thing that grabbed them, picked it up and put it upstairs. And they had a remote control to it too. They went like this. Oh, that was pretty cool. The drywall was installed by 2 teams. First, it was the drywall hangers, and then it was the drywall finishers. The drywall hangers were a group of guys that came in and knocked it all out in about 5 days.
Yeah, they screwed it in super fast.
Yeah, and then the finishers came in with like this mud moppy stuff, and they're like mopping the holes in, and then they're like sanding stuff and
Making
creating
a giant
just
mess.
dust everywhere. But they worked all weekend, and it took them 3 or 4 or 5 days too, and they knocked it out as well. But we didn't put drywall everywhere. In the ceiling, we actually use an exterior plywood called T111, and we did that for a couple reasons. I really wanted the lines going up the ceiling to really showcase how high the ceiling was. And since it's wood, plywood, It gives us some structural integrity in the ceiling that drywall does not.
Because there are so many angles in this roof, it turned into a super heavy jigsaw puzzle for our framers to put together.
But they're great framers, so they knocked it out in a couple days. Construction is moving at a breakneck speed. There are tradesmen all over the house.
But I am thinking about the furniture that we need to put in this new house. So I started searching on Instagram for styles that we like and furniture that we need. And I found the perfect little shop down in Orlando, Florida.
And you know what that means? Road trip. It would be quicker and easier just to run down to our local furniture store and buy furniture.
But we want to fill our house with really interesting pieces that you can't find everywhere.
And when we were in Orlando, we discovered a really cool import store that imports furniture from India and Bali, and we bought a whole bunch of stuff. While we were shopping, we got so excited that we filled an entire moving truck with furniture. And Jimmy and I road tripped back.
There's way too much furniture to show it all to you right now. But as soon as the house is done, you'll get to see how we decorate with all of it.
This building is old, and we want to keep those stories and the historic charm of the building preserved. The flooring, however, is pitted, it's all cut up with new concrete, and doesn't look really great. So we decided to pour a thin set layer of concrete over the top of it. So we used a product from Quikrete, which is a thin set concrete that dries very quick. So we decided to keep the floors gray, a neutral color, because we want people to walk in the building and not focus on the concrete floor, which we could have stained red or orange or something. We want them to look at our beautiful giant windows, our incredible old trusses, all our original artwork, not necessarily the concrete floor.
Even though it's just a gray floor, I love the way it turned out and it's easy to clean.
Your windows and doors are the first thing people notice about your home. They create the face of your building. We wanted the face of our building to be beautiful and strong. With our windows and doors, we wanted new, strong technology, but an old world feel. So we chose interior wood windows and exterior copper cladded windows. They're Lowe E glass and even impact glass. Lowe E is a specially designed glass to keep UV light out of your building. And impact glass is very special because it's super strong glass, specifically designed not to break during storms. We need that here in Florida because we get hurricanes. This old 80-year-old building had a former loading dock. So we had two options. We could block in this area, or we could embrace that odd loading dock opening and put a rolling glass door. It's kind of like a garage door, but it's specifically designed for the interior of your home. It's aluminum, which is really good for being near the water because it will not rust. And the glass of this rolling door is double paned, much like your traditional residential window is. Now our kitchen, instead of a loading dock, has a sort of balcony. We love this feature of the house. So one thing you don't really see much of in these shows is the amount of errands the homeowner or the contractor has to run. You're constantly running to Lowe's or lumber yards or specialty stores, picking up things that tradesmen need to keep them working. And we're hoping to be done, it's 11:20 right now on a Sunday morning. We're hoping to be done by 1 o'clock so we can go out to the boat this weekend. Hoping it doesn't kill the whole afternoon, but we'll see how long it takes to get through Lowe's and get our errands done. The inside of the warehouse is really starting to look like a home. We're getting very excited about moving in. And the outside, it's gone through a transformation as well. You probably remember from the very first episode of Our Little Warehome, some of our design ideas for the front of the building. I like to do some sort of planter box that kind of wraps this curb so you can only enter in from Park Avenue. We couldn't find brick that matched our building perfectly, but we didn't want to use brand new brick with an old building. So we found brick that came out of Chicago. It's actually 125 years old.
And we found a local brick mason to build our security wall and our whole front door area.
Our brick mason, Steven, noticed that some of these 125-year-old bricks still had the fingerprints left from the person who pulled the bricks out of the mold. He even found a few bricks that had bolts and nuts that had fallen into the mold while they made them. He also didn't just lay down the brick walkway, he used a herringbone pattern. For me, good design is all these little touches which add up into a beautiful space. On the exterior walls above the bottom floor brick, we went with hardy board. And hardy board is actually a cement board that will not rot. Hardy board's a little bit heavy, but that's Josh up there on the ladder. His nickname is Big Arms. And Big Arms and his team did a great job laying out the hardy board. We went with a board and battens look, which is very standard among craftsman style homes. And I know once we get it painted, it's going to look fantastic. So here we are, the project's moving really fast and we're exhausted.
1,000 decisions constantly, every day, being dragged in different directions.
100 problems, 100 issues.
Go pick up this, go do that.
Go to Lowe's.
We live at Lowe's.
We live at Lowe's.
But we still have things to pick out.
Tons of things to do.
We've got paint, colors, carpet colors, stain colors.
I'm colorblind.
So it's all on me.
But we're in the home stretch and you're gonna see the entire process in the coming episodes. So stay tuned.
We shall move one day.
One day.